The NFL preseason is right around the corner, which means it's time to start gearing our brains to start thinking about fantasy football, and it is never too early to be ahead of trends. I'm going to be giving you guys my top sleepers of this week and give you guys some of my analysis on why you should keep these guys in your notes and why they're sleepers in the first place. So make sure to subscribe or like this video or do something so you can keep this video in your head for the information when the draft does come around. But my first sleeper is KJ Osborn, and I think it's finally time for him to be this sleeper. I've been highlighting his potential for the past few seasons now, and I think it's finally time that he has that opportunity to be a real sleeper we can draft. And it's crazy because he's being drafted as the wide receiver 68, which is lower than last year at wide receiver 45. But I want to tell you why he's so low so you guys can make the assessment for yourself. It's because the addition of Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson are now taking some of the role, and a lot of the hype is shifting towards them, and people are forgetting about KJ, which might be a good thing, honestly. Even with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and TJ Hawkinson last season, he still finished as the wide receiver 7 with those last 5 games or so of the season. So he has that potential. We also have to remember this is only his second year in the NFL, and data shows that the second or third year of wide receivers' careers is when they start to make their breakout. So all my tickers are pointing up for him to be a sleeper this year, and he's got good value where he's being drafted. The next true sleeper here is Jelani Woods, a tight end for the Indianapolis Colts, if you didn't know, and let me get into why he's a sleeper. He's obviously being drafted low. Some of you guys might not even know who he is. I think his ADP is at 233, and he's being drafted as a tight end 33. The Colts just got their new head coach in Shane Steichen coming in from Philly as their offensive coordinator, and he did pretty decent with his rookie year. He had 40 targets and 30% of the snaps is what he played. And you can also make the assumption that with their new quarterback Anthony Richardson, he's going to dump the ball off to the tight end a lot. We saw that with Justin Fields in his first years as well, so that's a little bit more icing on the cake. This is a really young team with a lot of unproven offensive guys, and we know the tight end spot is a free-for-all, so you might as well draft him in one of the latest picks. I also want you to write down Elijah Mitchell in your notes, and I'm pretty excited about this one. He is one of the best running back handcuffs in the league, knowing CMC's injury history. And to make that even better, he's being drafted in the 11th round, which is just absolutely too low for the value he brings. At this ADP range, he's being drafted with other running backs that are in a committee like Khalil Herbert or Jamal Williams. Not only can you grab him as a handcuff if you did draft Christian McCaffrey, you can also draft him to sell him if or when Christian McCaffrey gets injured, or to the CMC owner. There's a whole bunch of possibilities here. And there's still more good news. The 49ers didn't draft or sign a single running back over the offseason in the draft. Mitchell ranks 14th in yards per touch and 19th in fantasy points per touch, being 8th in running back efficiency in the entire NFL. Now, I'm not trying to sell you completely on these numbers because obviously he hasn't had the most opportunities and he hasn't played that many full games, but now he has the opportunity to prove this. But another sleeper I do like a lot is Geno Smith, and his value is only getting better. They just killed the draft building around him, getting JSN on top of the offensive weapons they already have. And he also got paid a 3-year contract for $75 million for him to ball out as their franchise guy, and he's being drafted at the quarterback 17, so you might as well take a shot on him. But that isn't all. He also has sneaky running upside, which we love to see in fantasy quarterbacks. He had a career high 400 rushing yards last season, and that's pretty decent. Another guy I do like, and I want you guys to put in your notes, is Jalen Warren, the backup running back for Najee Harris. He's being drafted in round 14 right now, around other guys like Tank Bigsby and Tyler Algier. And let me explain why this makes sense for you to think about. He is the clear RB2 on this offense, and they also didn't sign or draft a single running back, which is a pretty good sign because it feels like teams sign running backs every 2 weeks. We also saw Najee struggle just a little bit last year. He has one of the lowest yards per carry in the NFL. We blame that on his offensive line, but here's the thing. Jalen Warren ranked 11th in the NFL in yards per carry at 5.6 yards. Now, I'm not saying all of a sudden he's going to overtake Najee and be the workhorse running back, but he did lead the NFL in efficiency, and I mean the entire NFL. Every single running back, he was the most efficient. If you're looking for a handcuff or a late round shot in the dark, he's your guy to go with. But one guy I do like that I guarantee you everyone has forgotten about and is extremely underrated is Rondale Moore. In the 6 games that he played full snaps after his injury, he's averaged 14 fantasy points per game and 8 targets a game. And yes, their quarterback situation is worse than horrible, and Kyler Murray probably realistically won't return till after week 12. But being the wide receiver 2 on this team and getting drafted around guys like Marvin Mims and Rashid Shaheed is just straight disrespectful. But that concludes my list of this week's sleepers for fantasy football. Save this video any way you have to. Put the players in your notes because you're going to want to keep this for later.